I just saw a video by Jerry Ward of BioS3 Training, whatever he calls his YouTube channel. I have a link to his video below. But in this video, he talks to Jay Cutler, okay? Very well known, very big bodybuilder. And he basically just, goes up front and asks him, he's like, listen, I've heard about all this stuff about if it fits your macros, et cetera, et cetera. I've heard that you, when you're working out, you eat like Pop-Tarts and stuff like that. And what's the truth? Now, first of all, it's kind of interesting that Jay Cutler did not know what IIFYM, if it fits your macros, is. Okay, he said basically he just does his social media and that's it. He doesn't really, hang out online. And, Jerry had to explain to him basically that if it fits your macros is like, oh, well, as long as you get a certain number of calories and a certain number of, macros, like so much carbohydrates, so much protein, etc., it doesn't matter if you're eating brown rice or white rice or Pop-Tarts, carbohydrates or carbohydrates, and stuff like that. And it's very interesting, okay, because that's really what if it fits your macros is. You can eat horse shit if you want. The important thing is you eat a certain amount of carbs, a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of fats, a certain amount of total calories, and it doesn't matter what you eat. So like I said, if you get your fat and your carbs by eating Burger King French fries, it's the same as if you ate brown rice and, coconut oil, okay? So after he explained this to him, it was very interesting what Jay Cutler did is he kind of like backed up actually. And he said, well, after a workout, he'll have candy corn, okay? Or, candy, things like that. He also said at one point, he said that, after a workout, he'll drink Coke. Not Diet Coke, he'll drink normal Coke with protein powder. They both kind of laughed because, mixing Coke with protein powder. But this is the point that I'm trying to make. He did not say he wakes up in the morning and has, a Pop-Tart and a piece of pizza, and he looks in MyFitnessPal and makes sure that his macros line up, and he eats horse shit all day. He did not say that. All he said is, after a workout, to get simple sugar to spike his insulin, high glycemic carbohydrates, yeah, he sometimes eats candy or drinks soda instead of having something like wholesome, okay, some clean food. Now, I've done similar things like that myself, okay? There are a couple reasons why back before I was on really low carb diets, I would have a lot of sugar in my diet, okay? And it was of a couple things. First of all, when creatine, yes, I'm old enough to remember when creatine first came out. When creatine first came out, they were talking about a couple things. One of them was a loading phase, which you don't really need. Having a whole lot of creatine for a couple days to get it into your body. You don't really need to do that. But another thing was insulin spiking. That means that it makes sense for you to take grape juice, okay, which is very high glycemic index. That means it spikes your insulin very much. That means it's very much, simple sugar. Mix grape juice with your creatine. It will cause an insulin spike, which will cause you to absorb the creatine better, okay? That's one reason why I was taking very simple sugars after my workout, okay, when I took my creatine. Another reason specifically why I took simple sugars right after my workout is even before creatine came out, people were talking about getting the insulin spike to replenish your glycogen after a workout and to go ahead and increase protein synthesis, basically just to absorb the protein you're taking in after your workout better into your muscles by getting an insulin spike. Get an insulin spike by raising your blood sugar with high glycemic index, simple sugary carbs, okay? So the first thing I did was Iron Man magazine back in the day that was talking about this, and I did what they said. I mixed my whey protein with orange juice. And then, like I said, I looked at it, experimented a little bit, and I found out that grape juice was an even better way, a more simple sugar, a better way to spike your insulin levels. So I was mixing my protein with grape juice. Then when creatine came out, I added in creatine with my protein, with my grape juice after my workouts. Okay, so like I said, the idea was basically I deplete my body of glycogen, and I would go ahead and I take in grape juice with creatine and whey protein. If you'll notice on my anaerobics workout, that I used to get really, really lean. That was also like a carb timing or a targeted low carb diet. And what I was doing then is I was actually mixing dextrose powder, which is like basically sugar. Okay, not sucrose, but dextrose. It's a form of sugar in with my glutamine, creatine, and whey protein after my workouts. So what he was doing, what Jay Cutler was doing, was basically the same thing that I was doing. Because once again, I'll have another video linked below this video where I talk about how there's not much of a difference between soda and fruit juice. You know, fruit juice and soda both have like, you know, the same empty calories, the same carbs. But like I said, you know, after a workout, if you want to mix soda with your protein powder to spike your insulin, you can. If you want to have, you know, candy corn or whatever kind of, I think Jay Cutler was talking about those little cola bottles, gummy bear cola bottles. You know, have some of them or whatever to spike your, you know, your insulin after workout. That's what he was talking about. He wasn't talking about eating, you know, potato chips for breakfast and ho-hos for lunch and pizza for dinner. He was basically just talking about after he works out, he wants a form of simple sugar to spike his insulin levels, to better absorb, to refill his glycogen and to absorb what he takes in his post-workout shake. And it doesn't matter if you use orange juice or grape juice or, you know, candy corn, or if you use or if you use soda. It's all basically the same thing. And that's what he was talking about when all these people talk about how Jay Cutler is taking in Pop-Tarts every day.